My child, I need you to stop everything you are doing and listen to me very closely right now, because what I'm about to tell you is not just a story, but a warning of something that has just taken place. Just moments ago, in a place that should have been safe, someone's body gave way and they collapsed entirely to the hard ground. It was not a stumble, and it was not a simple trip. It was a sudden and complete shutdown of their physical strength. You might think this happened because they were working too hard, or perhaps the heat of the day was too much for them to bear, but I tell you now, it was not from exhaustion. It was not because the sun was beating down on them, and it was not even caused by the immense stress that they have been carrying on their shoulders for so long. The cause of this sudden fall was something much smaller, yet infinitely heavier than any physical burden could ever be. It happened because of a single object they were clutching tightly in their hand, a thin, fragile piece of paper that carried the weight of a mountain. This paper was not a letter from a friend or a bill to be paid. It was a medical report, official and cold, bearing news that no soul is ever prepared to receive. As they held it, their eyes scanned the lines, desperate for hope. But what they found there was a verdict that shattered their entire world to its absolute core. Written on that page, in stark black ink, was not the word cancer, though that is a word that brings great fear. It was not diabetes, nor was it a heart condition or any of the other ailments that people often whisper about. No, the letters stamped on that page were far more devastating to this person's spirit. The diagnosis read HI5, 3 letters, just 3 simple marks on a page, but they held enough power to drain the blood from their face and the strength from their legs. Now, you might be asking yourself, Lord, why are you telling me this tragedy? What does the suffering of a stranger have to do with me? But here is the shocking truth that you must accept before we go any further. This unfortunate person, this soul who is currently lying on the floor in utter defeat, is not far away from you at all. They are not in a distant country, nor are they a nameless face you will never meet. This person is someone who is right now, at this very moment, under your very roof. Yes, my child, you heard me correctly. This tragedy is unfolding within the walls of your own home. I know your heart is racing, and you are wondering who exactly this infected person could be. Is it a sibling, a parent, a partner? I promise you that everything, including their identity and how this happened, will be revealed in this message. But we must take this step by step. Before we continue, I ask you to engage with this message so that the truth can reach those who need it most. Leave a comment below saying, "I am listening, Lord," or reveal the truth to show that you are ready to receive this revelation. Let us look closer at the scene that just took place. Just moments ago, this person blacked out completely, their consciousness unable to process the horror of what they had just read. They collapsed right there, crumbling beneath their own feet, unable to stand under the crushing weight of that diagnosis. And as they fell, the paper they were holding, the source of all this sudden pain, slipped from their trembling hand. It lost its grip as their fingers went slack, and it drifted down to land beside them with a soft, final sound. A quiet thud that echoed loudly in the silence of the room. These were not random papers that fell. They were not insignificant scraps. These were medical reports, documents that claimed to tell the absolute truth about a person's life and future. They are reports carrying a weight heavy enough to bring a strong soul to its knees in an instant. And what exactly was written on those pages that could cause such immediate destruction? Again, I tell you, it wasn't diabetes and it wasn't cancer. It was something that pierced deeper into their identity and their hope for the future. It was HI5, the very word that shattered their world in an instant, turning their plans and their dreams into dust. You heard me right, my child, and you must not turn away from this reality. Before you even whisper a question of doubt, asking what this has to do with you, I need you to hear the next truth, because it will shock you to your core. That unfortunate person is not a stranger. They are not someone far away, and they are not a face lost in a distant crowd of unknown people. This person lives under the same roof as you, shares the same air you breathe, and walks the same floors you walk. Someone whose footsteps echo through the same halls you traverse every single day, and now you ask, who is it? How did they get this? Why is this happening to them? Every answer is coming, but I need you to stay with me and keep your spirit open. Do not turn away, because what I am about to reveal will test your heart and challenge what you think you know. Give me your attention for these next few minutes, because in this time, you will see what others cannot see. You will hear what the world tries to hide in the shadows. Yes, my child, everything will be revealed to you. Now, let us begin the journey to the truth. To tell you the full story, I must take you back a few hours, back to the place where this nightmare truly began, the hospital. My child, this tragedy began in a quiet, sterile waiting room where a single soul sat alone, isolated by their fear. They were waiting for a report that they knew could change everything about their life. Their hands wouldn't stop shaking as they clasped them together, trying to find some semblance of peace. Their foot tapped nervously against the cold floor, a rhythmic beat trying to kill time, but the ticking clock on the wall only made each second stretch longer and longer, agonizingly slow. Around them, life kept moving as if nothing was wrong. Nurses rushed past in their uniforms, focused on their tasks. Stretchers rolled by carrying others with their own burdens. Machines beeped in a steady, monotonous rhythm. But for this one heart, everything else faded into the background because all they could think about, the only thing that mattered, was what might be written inside that report. They sat there terrified, wondering if their life was about to end before it had truly begun. Yes, my child, the tension was unbearable. And then finally the moment of reckoning arrived. A door opened. A doctor stepped out, his face unreadable, holding a white envelope in his hand. Their name was printed clear. Rely across the front of it, branding the news as theirs and theirs alone. The paper looked ordinary, plain and harmless on the outside, but inside it carried the weight of life itself. With trembling hands that could barely function, they reached out to take it. Their eyes darted left and right, scanning the hallway, searching desperately for a quiet corner where they could be alone with their fate. Slowly they walked down the hallway, moving away from the noise of the waiting room, away from curious eyes that might see their reaction. They needed privacy for what was about to happen. Then came the deep breath, the intake of air that felt like it might be their last breath of peace. Then came the careful tear of the paper, the sound magnified in their ears, and the slow unfolding of a truth too heavy to bear. Their eyes scanned the report once, unable to comprehend it. They scanned it twice, hoping the words would change. Then they froze. In that second, the skin drained of all color, leaving them pale and ghostly. Their chest tightened as if a vice had gripped their heart, and their knees weakened, turning to water. And in that instant, their body simply gave up. Fight. They collapsed to the cold floor, unable to hold themselves up any longer. The paper slipped from their hand, drifting down. It landed beside them with a sound so small it almost wasn't there, a stark contrast to the loudness of what was written on it. Just 3 letters stared back from the floor. Letters that felt like a death sentence, final and absolute. HIV. Yes, my child, this is what happened. But the mystery remains. Who was this person, and how did this come to be? That is the truth I am about to reveal in the next part of this message. So, if you are truly ready to face the reality of this situation, I ask you to give me your final few minutes of undivided attention, because everything you need to know about this mystery is coming next. Now, let us begin to unravel the identity of this person and the nature of this tragedy. My child, listen carefully to what I am telling you, for this is not a parable, and it is not a metaphor. The person holding that devastating report is not a stranger to you. They are not some nameless soul lost in a distant crowd whom you will never meet or know. No, this tragedy is striking someone who breathes the exact essay, me air, as you do every single day. This is someone whose footsteps echo through the same halls you walk through in the morning and at night. This is someone who sleeps beneath the same roof where you lay your head to rest. It is someone within your inner circle, someone within the sanctuary of your own home, and deep down beneath your confusion and fear, your spirit already trembles with the knowing of it. You can feel it in your gut. You sense who it is, even before I speak their name. But as that realization dawns on you, another question burns even brighter and hotter in your mind. How could this specific person end up tied to such a terrible sickness when they never walked in reckless paths? How could a diagnosis like this attach itself to someone who never lived a life of danger or promiscuity? Their choices were always careful, their heart was pure, and their walk was steady and righteous. They were not the type to take risks with their life or their body, and everyone around them knows this to be true. Even the angels themselves looked down upon those papers lying on the floor and whispered among themselves, "How can this be?" It defies logic, it defies their character, and it defies everything you know about them. But, my child, heaven does not stop at the surface level of things. Heaven searches deeper than human eyes can look. Heaven looks past the rumors that circulate, past the easy answers that people accept, and past what the physical eye can see, and what was uncovered by that divine search shook the very ground of truth itself. It was not simply the illness that was the problem, nor was it merely the 3 letters written in cold ink on that page. No, there was something darker at play here. There was a shadow lurking beneath the shadow of the diagnosis. There was a hidden cause behind the visible cause, because the sickness that caused them to collapse was only the sign, a symptom of a much more sinister reality. The real story ran far below the skin, deep into the realm of spiritual wickedness and human malice. Yes, my child, this is the truth I am preparing to lay before you right now. So hold your heart steady and brace yourself. Do not turn away, because the next words you hear will change how you see everything about this situation. And that is exactly what I am about to reveal to you. My child, listen to me now, and let these words sink deep into your spirit. Because the report you feared so much, the paper that caused them to faint in terror, was never real. I need you to grasp this. Every word on that paper was forged. It was paid for by wicked hands, planned by a hateful mind, and planted to be found. It was a lie written with the ink of malice, designed to look authentic enough to destroy a life. Its purpose was not to diagnose a medical condition, and it was not to warn them of a health crisis. Its sole purpose was to destroy. They wanted to break a spirit that never belonged to them. They wanted to crush a soul that had done nothing but shine light. They wanted to bury a good name under a stigma it never carried, to tarnish a reputation with a shame that did not belong to it. Yes, my child, that was their weapon of choice. It was not a gun or a knife. It was a weapon of shame, a weapon of fear, designed to isolate and destroy from the inside out. They knew that this specific lie would cause the most damage, that it would silence the victim and make them hide in the shadows. But here is the part that cuts the deepest, the part that makes this betrayal incredibly painful. This attack did not come from a stranger on the street. It did not come from a distant enemy with no face or name who struck at random. It came from close to home. It came from someone who has sat at your table and shared your meals. It came from someone who has heard your laughter and smiled back at you. It came from someone who has known your secrets and used them to craft this trap. This is a family enemy. They waited for years in the shadows, masking their true feelings. They sharpened their bitterness like a blade, honing it day after day while pretending to be a friend or a loved one. They watched for the perfect moment to strike, the moment when their victim would be most vulnerable, and they thought they had succeeded. But they forgot something crucial. They forgot who is watching over you and your household. My word stands firm against such treachery, and my word says in Isaiah 5:17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." Their weapon was the fake report. Their weapon was the lie designed to kill a reputation. But they forgot that the battle belongs to me. They thought they were fighting a human battle, but they touched something divine. Because while they have made their move, plotting in the dark and planting their evidence, heaven is about to make mine. And when heaven moves, no scheme can stand against it. No shadow can hide the truth when my light shines. No lie can live when my truth speaks. So hold your heart steady and breathe. Do not fear the report, and do not fear the enemy who forged it, because the next thing I reveal will show you how I turn every weapon into a testimony of victory. I am about to flip the script on the enemy in a way they never saw coming. I ask you now, if you believe that God can expose every lie, leave a comment below saying, "Expose the lies," or "God is my defender." Let your faith be the signal that you are ready for the turnaround. The enemy thought they had won by planting fear, but they only planted the seeds of their own exposure. And that is the move I am about to unveil to you right now, a move that changes the entire landscape of this battle. My child, hear me now and hear me well, for the enemy has played their hand, but they did not wait to see what card I hold. Thou. That by forging a document, by creating a false narrative of sickness and shame, they could write the final chapter of this person's life. They believed that ink on paper was enough to cancel a destiny ordained by heaven. But I am here to tell you that though they tried to curse, I will turn it into a blessing. Though they tried to wrap this person in a garment of heavy shame, intending for them to walk with their head down for the rest of their days,